Hey everybody, it's Josiah Savar from Sing His Songs Music Production. Got a quick video today about mixing drums and why you should use a drum bus on your drum mixes to get the sounds that you want. Every time I mix a song with drums in it, I'm using a drum bus. I think it's a really powerful tool and it can help you get the results that you want a lot faster, and a lot of times it helps you get better results too. More on that in a second. I have these drums pulled up here. I have 6 tracks stereo overheads, then I have kick, snare, rack tom, floor tom, and the room mic. I have not done anything to them, and the faders are all pulled down. So there are no plugins on any of these tracks. We're just working with the raw tracks here. And like I said, all the faders are pulled down. So first, let's start this out like I would any drum mix. We're just going to start pulling the faders up and getting a good balance with using only volume. So let's start with that. I'm going to press play. And then okay, cool. So that's sounding pretty good. Obviously, there are some things that we'd like to change here, but overall, it sounds pretty good already, just pulling the volumes up. And this is how I start any mix. I always have all the faders pulled down, then I start adjusting the volumes before I add any processing to it. And I normally start with the drums. So now that we've got a good volume balance there, let's route these all to a bus track. Now, if you're not familiar what a bus is, it's a special kind of track that you can send audio to, and you can send multiple tracks to. So your master fader, like over here, this big channel with the blue fader, that's my main output. That's a type of bus channel. So everything in the whole mix is being sent to that track. So it's a type of bus. So let's add a bus channel for these drums. So here I can go, wait, not there. I can go over to here and say add bus channel. Okay, let's call it drums. Now if I solo it, nothing is coming through because we haven't routed the audio to it yet. So one thing you want to make sure that you don't do with this is you don't want to send a copy of the drum track to your bus. So that's what I did just now. I used my send slot and I sent a copy of it over here. So now there are two, it's kind of like there's two of these kick tracks. So if I solo both of them, you'll hear it. But then I can I can mute the drum bus track and there will still be audio coming from the kick track. See, the drum bus is muted. So we don't want that. We want all the audio from these tracks to be sent to the drum bus. So 100% is going to that drum bus. So we can mute all the drums from here, and we can adjust the volumes from here too. We can also process them, and it'll be 100%. 100% of the audio will have been processed instead of just like half of it, if you get what I mean. So let's remove that. So the way I would route these tracks here is setting the output of the tracks to the drum bus. So you have to figure out how to do that in your own DAW. But now, if I mute the drum bus, there'll be no sound. And there's sound coming through there. So I'm not making any copies of the tracks. They're just being sent to a new place. And then as you can see, the drum bus is being routed to the main bus, the master fader. Okay, we can change the color of this just to make it a little easier to pick out. Okay, so now that we've got that set up, let's talk about the benefits of using a drum bus. So the thing with drums for me is that even though I have so many of these tracks, and it can be tempting to view them as all as separate instruments. You know, the snare is its own drum, the kick is its own drum. But you can do that, you know, you can think of it that way. But I like to think of it as being played in the same room by the same person. And I think of it all as just one instrument. So I want all the drums to be balanced with each other. And then I want to also be able to mix them as a single instrument as much as I can. And using a drum bus allows me to do that instead of going through and tweaking each individual track to get it sounding how I like, you know, get the perfect snare sound by just messing with the snare track. I think it's a lot more powerful to tweak them on the drum bus, you know, so you're mixing the whole kit at once. You're EQing the whole kit. You're compressing the whole kit at once. And obviously there are limitations to that. And I normally have to go in afterwards and tweak the individual tracks a bit. But this, I always start mixing drums with the drum bus and putting my processing on there first. So let's start doing that. We can add a little bit of reverb. That's another nice thing about this is instead of having 6 different reverb sends on all the drum tracks, you can just put it on your drum bus and it'll send all the tracks to that reverb. So let's see. Okay, cool. Let's put some EQ on it and tweak the sound of these. They sound a little boxy right now. There's also some ringing going on in the low, like 100 to 200, somewhere in between there. So let's work on the boxiness first. Yeah. Okay. Let's find that ring. Okay. I think that's the right ring. Sometimes I pull down the wrong ring. You know, you can find ringiness anywhere if you boost it. But I think that's what I was hearing before. Let's bypass this EQ and see if we fixed what we wanted to. Cool, I feel like the ring is gone and we've taken care of some of that boxiness. We can also make them sound a little beefier, the drums overall. They already sound really nice and powerful already, but we could add just a little bit more, you know, just boost a little bit in the low, in the lows. Let's pull this one over. Let's try that. So just added a little more weight to the snare. Let's listen with that on and off and just see if we really helped anything. Sorry, at first I turned off the whole EQ and we had already done that, but hopefully You can, if you want, you can go back and rewatch that part. I turned off just that individual band on the EQ, and I feel like it does give the snare some nice weight to it. So yeah, the thing with drum bus EQ is you normally don't want to be super drastic. You can cause a lot of harm if you are cutting or boosting, much more than, 4 decibels. Because like I said, you're messing with all the drums. So it might sound really nice on the kick or something, that EQ move, but then you might not realize it, but you're messing with the toms and you don't want to do that. So kind of small adjustments here, but it really is powerful what you can do here. I feel like it already sounds a lot better just with a couple of small EQ adjustments. We could try putting a drum bus compressor on here. Let's do that. Let's set the ratio like 4 and then the attack at like 35 or something. Okay, let's see what this sounds like. Hopefully I gave you enough time to listen to that there, but I feel like it adds some tightness and it just makes it feel a little more balanced. Yeah, it just feels good. A little more extra punch. So what we've done here, we just did some small EQ to clean it up a little bit and beef it up a little bit too. Then some compression to add some tightness, and then some reverb to add some space. Let's listen to all the processing that we did on and off. Okay, so I have this power switch over here that'll let me turn off all the plugins at once. So let's do that. And of course, it depends on the context of the song and everything. And I would adjust this as I go along. But it's sounding pretty good. Maybe the kick has a little bit too much low end right now. So maybe I'd go in to that individual kick track and tune that a little bit. Maybe the tom tracks have a weird ringing on them. So I'd put an EQ on the individual tom track. That was giving me a problem. And then I'd fix it that way. But I always start with the drum bus because you can get so much done off of it. And I like to get as much work done as possible using the drum bus. Because like I said, it gives you the opportunity to mix the drums as one instrument instead of, 7, or if you have like a crazy number of drum tracks, it makes it a lot more manageable. And like you saw, it's a lot faster. You can get more done with less time and less work, really. Also worth noting, these drums, I feel like they sound pretty good already, so we didn't need as much work. But you can work with what you have, and I would still start with the drum bus and see what you can do there. And then, of course, there's nothing holding you back from processing the individual tracks. I have nothing against that. I do that all the time. So anyway, sorry, I think this was a longer video than I had intended it for it to be, but hopefully you found this helpful, and hopefully I didn't add to any confusion. Hopefully this helps clear up some of the confusion for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out on our website. We have a contact page there. The link will be in the description. If you like the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Yeah, thanks for watching.